Hello friends, in this video we are going to see the directory structure and file system. So in Linux, so we're talking in general, it's not Ubuntu or it's Fedora or it's Mandrake or SUSE. So in general we're talking about Linux here. So this is the main directory structure of a Linux operating system. So we have a slash directory. We have a slash directory at the top of all directories. So that is we can call it as a start of the directory structure. I'm not calling it as a start of operating system. So I'm calling it as a start of directory structure, root of all directory. So you should be careful. There are two directories with so people call it as a root. Some people call it as a root directory of this directory, the slash directory, and some people call actually there's one more folder which is slash root directory. So what I want to say is I will call this as a slash directory. Okay, I'll call this as a slash directory, and I'll call this directory as slash root directory. So in this the main directory structure, so all the you can call it as a folders or directories. Mainly we'll call it as a directories in Linux. So the slash directory is top of all the directories, is the start of all directory structure, is start of the directory structure of Linux. Below, so inside this slash directory, we have slash bin, slash boot, slash dev, slash etc, slash home, slash lib, slash mnt, slash media, slash opt, slash proc, slash root, slash sbin, slash temp, and slash usr, and slash var. So you can create more directories, but these are the default directory what you get when you install a Linux system. And we have slash bin. So this is under slash. You can see this is the slash directory. Under that there's a bin directory. So it's not slash bin. It's under the slash we have a bin directory. So this bin directory contains the binary files. So these are the example files what I have given here: the ls command, the cat command, cp, the most used commands by any user on a system. So we have a boot directory. So the boot directory contains the essential boot configuration files and the boot files. So you should be very careful. Never play with the boot configuration if you don't know exactly what you are doing. So that could break your system configuration. So we have slash dev. So slash is the main directory, the root directory, and we have a dev directory slash dev. So one file for every device. So in slash dev directory we have one file for all the devices in the computer. So there can be folders, subfolders slash dev. So this is for having files related to devices. So one thing you should remember, in Linux everything is file. Every device is considered to be a file. So anything you write to that file, so that will be written to the device. So if you get any output of a device, input from a device, so that will be taken through this file which belongs to that device. So we have etc or etc, some people call it as etc or etc. So etc directory contains the system configuration, so it contains all the configuration for network, DNS, HTTP servers. So a lot of system configuration files are available in slash etc. So the bash commands, /etc profile, etc. So we'll see some files later. Before that, we'll see what are the folders, what are the directories available in our Linux system. We have home directory. So this home directory contains subdirectories, and each directory inside the home directory belongs to one user. That's the home user of a normal user. So the home directory of a normal user. So whenever a new user is created, his default home directory is created inside slash home directory. Slash lib directory. So this lib directory contains some shared libraries which is required for most of the softwares in Linux. So we're not going to worry about this lib directory now. We'll see it later. So we have a mount point. So this can be used as a mount point for many devices. By default, the mount point would be /media for all these USB devices, CD-ROM devices. You can either mount it on a MNT or media directory. So by default, USB and CD-ROMs will be mounted in media. We'll see what is mount and unmount at the end of this video. So we have opt. So this is for optional softwares. You can install optional softwares here. You have /proc. This is a folder or a directory which contains information about all the process in the system. So every process will have a file, and that file defines what exactly is a process. So you can check the CPU information, everything in /proc directory. We have /root directory. This is the root user's home directory. The root user is the super user of a Linux system. So he will have his home folder that is /root. /root is the home directory of the root user. And /sbin contains system administration files and executables. You can call it as a files or executables. The /sbin contains system administration files. Temp TMP directory, similar to a temp directory in Windows machine. This is a temporary directory, and anyone can write to this file. So we will see the permissions later. What are the permissions on a temp directory? We have /usr. That's the user specific resources, or most of the times is available in /usr. User specific the system administration files, user specific libraries will be available in /usr. And /var is one of the important folders when it comes to servers. /var plays a very important role. So most of the times a /var is mounted entirely on a different hard disk. And /boot will be /home will be mounted on a different hard disk, and /boot will be different on mounted on a different partition. So the /var is called variable files like logs, user mails. These logs keeps on increasing in size. This is the reason why it's called variable files or var. So most of the log files for it can be a server file, it can be a HTTP server log, or it can be a mail server log, it can be FTP server log, or it can be a system log, it can be any log files. So will be here, and the logs keep on increasing, and the size of this var directory should be very good, because when you mount this var directory on a device, the device should have enough space. Even though if there's some variable, the var directory is going to increase, you need to make sure to rotate the logs. So we'll not worry about rotating logs, all this here. So we'll move with our video what exactly the directory structure is. So this is the directory structure of a Linux. When we go to a Windows machine, we don't know what exactly happens. So most of the people don't know what exactly each folder is meant for. For example, if you open a Windows machine, there's something called System32. We know that System32 is a binary. Most of the binaries are there, but again, there are many directories. People don't know exactly what is the use of those directories, because the source code of Windows machine is not available to anyone. But in Linux, the source code is available to everyone, and we know what is the purpose of every folder in a Linux machine. So this is the complete operating system, the higher level of hierarchy in the operating systems. We have a lot of subfolders, subfiles in all the folders here. So the /user directory, see, we're not talking about any other directory right now. We're just talking about simple /usr directory, because even inside the /usr directory, you will find the similar directory structure as a normal under the / directory. Whatever you saw under the the main root directory, so it will be almost similar to. So we have some directories mentioned here. So /user /bin. / is the main topmost level, what we have already talked. The /directory /user /bin. It contains not so critical files, that's like clear C compiler files, executables, so clear commands. Okay. And /etc. contains user configuration files. /sbin contains user administration files. For example, if you want to do some user administration like user mod, user add, user delete, these files are inside the /user/bin directory. So include for library files, include include contains some C programming, include files, library function, library files, and /local. Usually softwares like Java, web servers will be installed in the /user/local. Most of the times it will be installed here. Some people install it on a /user/lib. So when I was working on servers, /user/local/Apache. So that was the location for an Apache web server. So we'll see what's next. We have binary executables. See, whenever it comes to binary executables, so the main locations where the binary executables available are /bin and /userbin, which is used by any user, any normal user on a Linux system. So whenever it comes to system administration tasks, so that would be done by /sbin. And the /user/sbin. So this /sbin is used for the system-wide administration, and /user/sbin used for user-related system administration like user add, user delete, user mod, all these operations. So whenever we create a file or create a folder, a default permission will be given to that folder. If we create a file using touch command, we'll see. If I create touch, okay, it should be in a small case. All the commands are in small case. Touch a new file. So I create a new file, ls-l. You can see the default permission is 664. So what is the mask given here? So you can see this is called mask. So whatever the hyphen you see here, you can see this in vi/etc profile. So you can see umask is 022. So umask is 022. Where to check this, you can use umask -yes. You can see user will get read, write, execute permission, and read and execute permission. So this is for a file. So we'll see for the folder, we create mkdir new dir. Okay, it's mkdir ls-l new dir. Okay, we need to do ls-ld because it's a directory. Okay, you can see the default permission is for the user rwx, for the group it's rx, and for the others it's rx. So the default permissions we can check it with the /etc/profile. So if you want more option on umask, you can check. Okay, we don't have. If we can go for a man page, you can check in a man page. There's no man entry in this for umask. You can say info. So we have some info here. I'm not sure. So we don't have an information about this. So you can check with the internet. Okay, we'll just quit. Okay, quit out this. Okay, don't worry. These are the default permissions we have. So that's usually set in /etc/profile file. So we'll talk about file system now. So till now we talked about directory structure. So this is the file system. So we already know about NTFS and FAT32. These are file systems available in Windows, and nowadays NTFS is the most widely used file system for Windows. So Linux uses ext2 or ext3 and ext4 is the latest one. So it's called journaling file system because the ext4 or ext3, all these Linux file systems are journaling file system which will keep checking. For example, if the power goes, they'll keep track of all the errors exactly. So it's a very powerful type of file system. So Linux uses ext2, ext3 and ext4, and we also have something called Linux swap partition. We'll see that later. We need to have a swap partition. It's similar to the virtual memory of in Windows. So we have some file system utilities. So what are these? We have mkfs used to format a partition. We have fdisk. It's a utility used to add and delete partition, or make a lot of changes on a partition. If you want to modify some partition, you can use an fdisk utility. We have fsck and disk check utility, similar to the check disk utility in Windows. We'll check. So you should be very careful about these tools, because if you don't know exactly what you're doing, if your command goes somewhere a little wrong, that could ruin your complete operating system. Again, delete files, and that could damage your system files, delete files. So make sure that you know completely whatever you're doing when you use these commands. So if you don't know completely about these commands, don't use it. Okay. So we can mount files of file systems. So for example, if you want to mount a pen drive, okay, when you connect a pen drive, it automatically mounts. Whenever you connect a pen drive to a system, it automatically gets mounted to the operating system. The meaning is, even if you have connected, if you're not able to access that, most of the time it's not mounted. If it's not mounted, you cannot access any files in it. So it's like, even if you connect the device and can't access the files, the meaning is you have not mounted the device, or there is no proper mount. So you have to mount all the devices either manually or automatically. Sometimes whenever you connect a pen drive, it mounts automatically. If you put a CD, it automatically mounts. So if you connect a device, new device, USB devices, SCSI disk, any disk, if it's not mounting automatically, you need to mount it manually to the system. The command is mount. -T is for the file system type. You have to give a -T option, then give the file system type. It can be FAT32, it can be in NTFS. If you are connecting a device which connecting a hard disk or a hard drive which is of type FAT32, if the partition is FAT32, you have to mention mount -T FAT32. Most of the times, even if you don't mention the type, -TFS type is not mentioned, then still you can mount. So Linux supports most of the file system types, even the NTFS, even the FAT32. So here's an example. What I've given is, if it's the device is SDB. So how can we check this device name? So we'll see that in a moment. We'll see the practicals of this video. So whatever I'm doing right now is the theoretical part. So we'll see practically of most of these commands. So we can unmount the device. We can remove the device from the computer. First we need to unmount it. So either you can unmount using this device name. This is the /SDV SDB. SDB usually stands for if you already have a serial device, it will be SDA, and if you connect the second serial device, it will be SDB. If you connect the third serial device, it would be SDC. So similarly, whenever you connect a pen drive, if you have one drive which is serial SDA, the pen drive will be SDB. So SDB1, I can unmount /DEV SDB1, or you can unmount with the mount point name /media/mount point. So mount point name, whatever you can give. So it will, most of the times it will be mounted under /media. So we'll see that later. So to mount an ISO file, if you have an ISO file in your computer or in a pen drive, you want to mount that and access inside the files inside an ISO file, you can mount using this command. Mount -T is ISO file, it's ISO 9660. This is a type of the file, and you can say you'll get a device here. Whenever you can say like this is the CD-ROM device, and mount point. You can give the mount point. So you can also exactly give the location. Assume that your image, ISO image, I have given the ISO image name as CD-ROM 0. So you can place it in a /DV, or you can place it in the home directory. You don't have to put this in a /DV/CD-ROM 0. It can be in the home directory, but you have to give a mount point to it. So this is whatever I given is a default CD-ROM mount. So you can have that in /home/Mac and a new disk.iso file, and you can give the complete name of ISO file here and then mount it on a place. Then you can access the ISO image, whatever the files inside the ISO file using this location. So we'll see this exactly how to mount a file in the upcoming videos, in the next video actually. Before that, before we wrap up this videos, we have two useful commands. df, this is used to check the mounted partition size, whatever the partition which is mounted to the operating system. We can check the size, partition size, and du is used to check the file system. For example, if you are under a folder /home/mac, you want to check the size of the folder /mac, you can go inside the folder and say du and press enter. So we'll see this in the next video. In this video, we've learned about directory structure and file system in Linux. So in the next video, we're going to see the practical application or the practical use of these commands and features. Thank you for watching this video.